Good morning, it's the 15th of March, 2024, and you're listening to Hot Topic and Fresh News. Here are your top stories. Senegal's opposition leader Ousmane Sonko and his supported presidential candidate Bassirou Diomaye Faye have seen the dawn as free men. This comes as President Macky Sall announced an amnesty, leading to their release from prison just ahead of the country's delayed election. Out in the streets of the capital, Dakar, hundreds of jubilant supporters have welcomed their political heroes. Faye, who is one of 19 in the electoral race, is expected to hit the campaign trail come this Friday through the Diomaye President Coalition Party. Interestingly, despite his time behind bars, Faye is still seen as one of the frontrunners in the election. Sonko's political journey, however, has hit a wall, as despite the granted amnesty, he will not be contesting in the forthcoming elections. The decision comes as the list of candidates remains unaltered. Stay tuned for these developments and more on Hot Topic and Fresh News. Good morning, listeners. This is your host, Emily, here at Hot Topic and Fresh News.
And joining the conversation today, as always, is yours truly, David Newstock.
We're here every day, keeping you updated on the latest happenings. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get straight to the hot topics.
What's the significance of Ousmane Sonko's release ahead of the election?
Well, Sonko is a prominent opposition figure, and his release sends a strong message about political freedom in Senegal. Though he won't be contesting, his influence on the election shouldn't be underestimated.
Can you provide some insight into the popularity of Bassirou Diomaye Faye?
Faye, despite having spent months in prison, is seen as a frontrunner in the election. It's interesting to note that his campaign has garnered considerable support, particularly from Sonko's followers.
What's the background on this amnesty granted by President Sall?
It appears to be a move to quell the social unrest that has been going on in the country due to the court cases against Sonko and the subsequent postponement of the elections.
Can you discuss the significance of Sonko's party, Pastef les Patriotes?
Sonko's party was seen as a beacon of radical reform, particularly popular among the young and the unemployed. However, it faced dissolution over allegations of inciting insurrection.
Lastly, what's the current status and what can we expect from the elections?
Senegal's elections were delayed from the 25th of February to the 24th of March. With the release of these key figures, the election campaign is bound to gain momentum, and it will be interesting to see how the dynamics unfold.
How would you characterize the overall political climate in Senegal currently, given the recent tumult?
Despite being considered one of the most stable nations in West Africa, Senegal has experienced its share of social unrest due to the legal actions taken against Sonko and the subsequent delay in elections. The widespread protests are indicative of a society seeking change and accountability.
As we wrap up this segment, what should our listeners keep an eye out for in the coming weeks regarding this situation?
The situation in Senegal is fluid, with the elections poised to be a critical turning point. It will be particularly interesting to see how the support for Faye evolves and whether the release of Sonko will have a lasting impact on the political scene. Let's keep a close watch. Thanks for joining us today on Hot Topic and Fresh News as we unraveled the high-stakes political drama unfolding in Senegal. Your support truly means the world to us. Be sure to subscribe and activate those notifications so you never miss an episode. We also encourage you to share our podcast with your friends, family, and fellow news aficionados. Do leave us a comment if you enjoyed this episode or have thoughts to share.
Yeah, folks, don't be strangers now. We're here every day, making sense of the world one news story at a time. And trust me, there's always something interesting on the horizon.
We're grateful for your time and your engagement. We can't wait to bring you more in-depth news analysis in the next episode.
Exactly. So till next time, remember folks, stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news. Our channel's content will amuse.